Dr. Ken Hudson defines innovation as the creation, development, and implementation of a new product, process, or service with the aim of improving efficiency and effectiveness along with competitive advantage. So, innovation is the key to driving an organization forward, but you can have a great innovation business model. But if the products or service are subpar, it defeats the purpose. Let me give you an example. My husband and I are foodies. And what are foodies? It's just a fancy name for people who are addicted to food. We love good food. Matter of fact, the truth be told, if some of you all could have seen me prior to the pandemic, I was a lot thinner, but I've certainly have quarantined and gained 15. Nonetheless, so my husband and I are foodies. We like to travel all over and we like to try different foods. So somebody told us about a phenomenal restaurant in Baltimore, is how they described it. And they said, oh, you have to go. The ambiance is great. So we headed out and we took a trip. And we got to this restaurant and we pulled up and we were already impressed. We got it inside and they had a live jazz band playing and the ambiance of the restaurant was absolutely stellar. However, not only was our waitress, for lack of better terms, maybe having a rough day. So she wasn't real jovial, wasn't really happy, didn't appear extremely friendly. And then when we got our food, it was just okay. So while the ambiance was absolutely amazing, the customer service and the food was subpar. So I'm saying all that to say, we probably won't return. Well, so it is with a business model. The organization can be so innovative and it can be great. But if the product in which it's offering and if the customer service is subpar, then you probably won't have a repeated client. And when I think about that, I think about the analogy, and we've all heard this growing up, right? It's the analogy or the saying that says a table can't stand with just 3 legs. So here is my demonstration of a table. Now, certainly this is not a table. This is actually my son Legos, but we'll use this as my table for tonight. And as you can see with this table, there are certainly, if we can again, we'll say that there's 4 legs, right? And so the table is solid. It is standing firm. But as I begin to remove part of the table, you'll begin to see it shifts. Well, then if it shifts and I want a table, but now it's lost its service, it's lost a great product, then all I have is a business model. But who wants a business model that is lopsided, that's unable to stand, right? And so that analogy says that to really have a business model that works, you need all components. Now, there's no such thing as a perfect business, right? Because there's no such thing as a perfect individual. However, I believe that it's so imperative that you give quality through and through, right? So that means the business model has to be great. But not only does the business model have to be great and innovative, you need the product to be just as great and just as innovative. You need the customer service to be stellar, because why? You rely on clientele. You rely on customers as an organization. And if a piece of the link is broken, you have a defective product. And that serves you and your clients no good. We talked about Dr. Ken Hudson's definition of innovation. We talked about how important it is that a business model is not only innovative in the model, but also in the product and the service. Now I want to talk to you about 2 companies. One who has been innovating for decades, and then another company who failed to innovate, and as a result, they are no longer in existence. Honeywell has been around since 1885, and innovation has been a part of their history and a part of their legacy. Honeywell has been known for many, many years of being instrumental in transforming the way the world works. Matter of fact, I love their slogan. It says, "The future is what we make it." And so Honeywell has been known for solving many industrial problems for various businesses. And so if you have an industrial problem, they're the people that you want to call. Honeywell will solve any ear issues you have, any security problems you have. And so if you have a problem, they have a solution. Ear solution, security solution, energy solution, water solution, seasonal solution, Wi-Fi thermostat solution. If you have a problem, Honeywell has a solution. And you know how they got here? Because they never allowed their thinking to be boxed in. But they always went against the grain. They always allowed themselves the ability to grow by making mistakes and learning from their mistakes. And as a result, they continue to innovate, they continue to make changes, and they continue to meet the needs and the demands of their clients. Now, the other company that I want to talk about, I'm going to play a little theme song. Let me know if you know the theme song. Ready? Here it goes.
I don't want to grow up from a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much that you really flip your lid. From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is. Gee whiz! I don't want to grow up, cause baby if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. More game, more toy, oh boy! I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
Who remembers that theme song? I don't know about you, but I loved when that commercial came on. I would just bop my head and tap my feet. I remember the days of running into Toys R Us. I remember the days when the magazine would come to my house right before the holidays as a little girl, and I would circle the items that I wanted, and I would hope that Santa was bringing it to me Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. We all grew up going to Toys R Us or wanting a toy from Toys R Us or purchasing a gift for somebody else. And Toys R Us was a childhood favorite for many of us. Matter of fact, I remember the days of going into the store and hugging the mascot Jeffrey. Do you remember those days? And I tell you, if you would have told me 10 years ago that Toys R Us would not be around for my son to have the experience, I wouldn't have believed you. While we know Toys R Us to be a great store, and we knew it to be a store that had every toy a kid could dream of, where they went wrong is they failed to innovate. As the world was beginning to evolve in technology, when companies began to have online access where you can order toys, Toys R Us for many years refused to have their services online. They refused to get the latest and the greatest product of technology. And when they realized that they began to see a deficit, they sought out Targets. And they sought out Targets with the hope that they could partner with Targets and that Targets would sell some of their items. But that plan also failed. And by the time Toys R Us was ready to innovate, it was already too late. They were filing for bankruptcy. See, when you don't innovate, when you don't pivot, when you don't change, this is the result. And so sadly enough, Toys R Us ended up closing its doors. Innovation is so key, it's so paramount, it's so important for organizations to realize that it's necessary to change with the times. It's necessary to evolve. I think about the days when my mom was growing up and she typed all of her papers on a typewriter. Those days is over. So now mom has to use a computer. She has to use a laptop, a tablet, just like you and I. Why? because what she grew up knowing, what she grew up using no longer exists. And if you want to stay relevant, if you want to stay current, it's so imperative that you innovate. And I love what Peter Drucker says. He says, if you fail to innovate, you will die. And that is what happened to Toys R Us. So we talked about Honeywell and their ability to think outside the box, and decades later, they are still around and they are still innovating. We talked about Toys R Us and their lack of innovation, causing them to file bankruptcy. I want to talk a little bit about my organization, whose core values is excellent. It's inclusivity, innovation, and integrity. We offer a quality product at an affordable price. But here's what I learned about my organization, and even prior to the pandemic. We've always been innovative. We've always pivoted with the times. We've always thought outside the box, right? And even with social media, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, Twitter. I'm getting ready to open up a TikTok account, right? And so we have been able to tap into the World Wide Web and use that to our benefit. We've tapped into social media to reach the generation of now, right? And so we've pivoted very well. But here's what I found with us as it relates to innovation. For us, it's about building relationship. And in innovation, relationship is so key because you can be creative and you can have a fun product, but it's about building the relationship that sustains the product and it sustains your organization. Because without clients, it doesn't matter how innovative you are. It doesn't matter how creative you are. If your clients do not feel connected, then in theory, innovation is great, but how successful will it be? I think about Apple, right? I mean, every time there's a new phone, people are flocking, they're on a waiting list, and they're spending thousands of dollars. But why? Because Apple listens to what the client wants, and they go and they create it and they deliver. So most people that have Apple products, guess what? They are repeated offenders in a good way, meaning they are constantly getting the latest and the greatest. And most people that have iPhones also have MacBooks. They also have iPads. Why? Because Apple has built not only a product that is unmatched, but they deliver for their customers. And as a result, they have no problems with selling their product. Matter of fact, 9 out of 10 times they sell out of their product almost within 24 hours of a release and a launch date. So there's something to be said about having innovation, but about building relationships. Does anybody remember this sitcom? I love this sitcom, Cheers. But here's what I love more. They had a theme song, and it goes a little something like this.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? All those nights when you've got no lights, the check is in the mail, and your little angel hung the cat up by its tail, and your third fiancé didn't show. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
I want to pause it right there. That theme song says, you want to go where somebody knows your name. And it goes on to say, and they're glad that you came. My organization, we do building relationships well. Not only do we want to know our client's name, we want them to know that we are glad they came. And so when you think of innovation, think beyond the creativity. Think about the ability to build a relationship that not only is long lasting, but one that is from a place of genuineness. And once you have clientele Every time you innovate and make a change, because of the relationship, those same clients will go where you go. Apple, again, is an excellent example of having innovation, but having relationship that sustains the innovation. In closing, I think the organization model of holacracy is ingenious. It's ingenious as it allows everyone to flow in their gifts and be unique, all while working towards a common goal. And I love that. I found that there are many gifts, but there's one organization, right? And so when you have one organization, but you have many gifts, that makes for a well-ran organization. And that's what I love about my organization. While there are multiple departments, we have over 120 various programs, but we allow individuals to use their gift. So whether that is their gift of creativity with graphic design, whether that is the gift of marketing, whether that is the gift of teaching, no matter what your gift is, we've created an avenue and an atmosphere where whatever your gift is, we allow you to flow freely. And as a result, we found not only do we produce a great product, but the employees are happy because they are doing what they not only really love, but what they're gifted to do. I'm reminded of this phrase as I thought about holacracy and their model and their vision and their concept. And this is what the vision and the concept that came to my mind. So in closing, I love the organizational concept of holacracy. I think it is absolutely ingenious, and that is because it allows an individual to do what they're gifted at, to flow in their uniqueness, all while working towards a common purpose, and that speaks volumes. I love this phrase, and this is what I think about when I think of the concept of holacracy. And the phrase says this: fish and you feed him only once. Teach a man to fish, and he'll feed himself his whole entire life. In other words, you can give someone a piece of fish and you will feed them. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll never go hungry. And that's what I believe holacracy is doing. It is creating a business model that says if you will allow people to work in where they're gifted, if you would give them the skills that's necessary and allow them to work freely and independently, that you will indeed teach them how to help the company be sustainable for a lifetime. Thank you all so much for listening to my presentation. It has been a pleasure. Bye.